DKIT agus fáilte chuig an Agran Dearnach sa Strat FleadhFest, coming to you from the banks of the River Boyne. Coming up, we find out all about CCE Dundalk from Porrick Donlan and Austin Daw. We head to Omeath where we chat to Niall O'Sluhan about the history of the Omeath Gaeltacht. Gráinne Casey sings Sweet Dooley Gate and takes us on a tour of her favourite sites in Drogheda. Adele Cummins tells us all about DKIT's association with Comhaltas and Irish music. We meet some of the county's musical instrument makers, and finally we talk to Gráinne Beryl, who tells us all about the Louth County Board. Seo é FleadhFest chun dé Lou. So, first up we're off to Dundalk where Porrick Donlan and Austin Daw reminisce all about CCE Dundalk.
Okay, Austin, you were involved in the early days of the Dundalk branch of Comhaltas, CCE Dundalk.
Yes, Porrick, I have been a long-term member of the branch, but I certainly wasn't there at the start. I wasn't born then. The branch was formed in 1958 following the All-Ireland Fleadh Cheoil in Longford, where Rory Kennedy, Brendan Gaughran and Eamon de Ball and Sean Casey and other founder members like that returned from the Fleadh and decided that it was a great idea to start a local branch here in Dundalk. And from that, CCE Dundalk was founded in '58. My older brother would have been involved in the branch before me, and my introduction to the branch was in the late '60s. I would have been learning the fiddle with Rose O'Connor, and at a certain stage, Rose would have thought, okay, it'd be a good idea then start down with the local branch of Comhaltas, which was the classes were held on a Tuesday night in Conor na Gaeilge Hall in Seatown, and down there we would all meet up, and Rory Kennedy and Brendan Gaughran, John Joe Gardner, people like that would divide you up for probably the first Fleadh was the Fleadh Dundalk, and then we would go on then for the Louth Fleadh, Leinster and hopefully All Ireland, which we did manage to reach in under 11. Like when I would have started, well, would have been in the under 11 Cayley band. We would have been divided up into duets and trios and obviously solo competitions as well. We've always enjoyed good success in the branch, as you know, and I suppose that leads us all into the more recent years.
I've been involved in Dundalk and CCE since the late 80s, mid to late 80s, and in now that we're based in the Oriel Centre, things are a bit more compact, and all our classes are in the centre here, and most of our teachers are TTCT qualified teachers, and examinations are important. The SET examination structure we take part in, where pupils do the exams, and they're important because they just don't play their music for the exam. They have to learn about other aspects of the music, including rhythms, recognising tunes, staff notation, reading that, and so it gives a more rounded education to the pupil. There's still emphasis on good music, but then we do all the other aspects of the music as well.
And then of course we have the more informal monthly sessions, that the junior session here on the last Friday of every month, where the great emphasis on coming down from the classes and them all the kids all getting together. Usually the teachers and other adult musicians lead the sessions, and the kids are able to participate as we did, sitting around and all learning new tunes, and great fun. Other activities that the children we've always enjoyed here was the St Patrick's Day Parade, for example, where we dress up to play music right through the town, and it involves everybody in Dundalk really, that they can showcase the music that's happening here in the Oriel Centre. I think one of the other major activities that always sticks out in my mind is the end of year concerts that we have, where all the teachers involve the children in concerts so that they're able to play for their parents and grandparents, and it's a great family occasion at the end of the year, showcase the music they learned all year. Any funds that are raised during that concert are given to the Peg Needham Bursary, and Peg Needham's marvellous flute player taken from us very early, back in 1995.
No doubt the bursaries create and help to create a standard of musicianship in the branch members, and no wonder then we have had the success we've had in all kinds of competitions, county Fleadh, provincial Fleadh and Fleadh Cheoil, and back before that Sloga, the Gaelin Sloga competitions. In more recent years though, that we have a big emphasis on Group Cheoil rather than the bands, and there's scope in the groups to include 20 members, so you're including people that mightn't have been able to get into bands or whatever, so it's very good in that way. It also it gives them a chance to perform and play in a group situation, and over the years we've had loads of success with our groups, as well as the solos, and I remember loads of Leinster and County Fleadh success, and then in 2013 in Derry our under 12 group won Fleadh Cheoil here in a group competition at Fleadh Cheoil here, which was a huge success.
Fantastic achievement, but it's not always about music either, Pádraig. We had some great outings there with the branch. One that sticks in my mind was the great tug of war competition we had out in Ballorgan Park some years ago, where we went out and we had a fun day. Of course there was music involved, and major music involved, but the one of the major competitions that day was the Puck Fada, and I remember Brendan Gaughran being anchorman on the tug of war team, and the young, I think it was the maybe that Group of Cheoil successful group that had won in Derry had pulled all the teachers across the line.
Yeah, we've had many memorable days out, and also great nights where we've had sessions and stuff. And one of them that comes to mind is the annual Trad for Trócaire stroke Halloween fancy dress night, and it's always great crack where everybody dresses up and gets painted, and there are prizes for the best effort and turnout for the night, and it's also a great chance to raise a few euro for the Trad for Trócaire campaign. Another great success for the branch. Actually, now that I think of it, they started out as a series of concerts called the Bloom of Youth, and then when we moved into the jail here, we called them the jail sessions, and it's a great opportunity for the branch to have seasoned, well-known musicians from all over the country.
And the children's Christmas party is also a fantastic annual event that children, branch members of a certain age, really look forward to. Santa Claus never fails and always turns up in great spirits, and always enjoys a few tunes and maybe dances a jig on that night. We've always had great fun.
Great times had, but there are other events that we get involved in, like Culture Night, where we put on entertainment for people here with some guest artists, and great nights are held. And World Music Day was another one I remember playing in the post office in Dundalk in mid-afternoon, which was a strange kind of feeling while people were posting their letters. And then we had a great night, you'll probably remember, out at Pro League Dalman, where we had a session out at the Dolmen around 7-8 o'clock at night, and there was a great atmosphere, and finished up in the Ballymascanlon House Hotel for a session and food afterwards. So there are memories that come to mind over recent years as well.
Yes, and apart from local branch activities, many of our members, especially the teachers, have contributed to Comhaltas in many other ways. For example, have been on adjudication panels at provincial, All-Ireland, All-Britain and FLAS in USA. Many of our members, especially in the early days, one of the first Comhaltas tours that went to the United States was the Fleadh Cheoil band, and I've been lucky enough to tour myself with Comhaltas internationally, as has Mona Ruddy, Anya McGeaney, Lorraine McMahon and Paul McMahon, yourself, Pádraig, Fionnuala, and recently Tig Mulligan, Kia Webster. Many members of the branch have participated in many of the tours in Ireland and Britain and the United States. I remember Brendan Corcoran receiving the Ken Ruddy Award in Sligo, and Kia Webster some years later receiving the award in Drogheda. And congratulations yourself, Pádraig, you got the Ardula in Ennis.
And I remember that night down in Ennis. It was a great occasion and a great honour. Just thinking and talking about all the events of the branch there, and all the activities and the enjoyment we've had over the years. You know, it wouldn't have been possible without all the members who contributed to organising and making it happen, both in music and other ways. And we can't forget any of them who contributed, either deceased or still with us. So I'd like to include them and say thanks to them all.
Absolutely. And our branch, CCE Dundalk, very, very proud to be part of.
Thanks a million for that, Pádraig and Austin, and the best of luck to CCE Dundalk in the future. So, next up we're off to O'Meath, where we chat to Niall O'Sloon, and he tells us all about the Gaeltacht and the Gaelga in the area. Niall, cad é an ceangal idir O'Meath agus an Gaelga?
Well, tá muidir an seo in O'Meath agus tá O'Meath I gceantar ó riaile. Ó riaile sin tuisce chun de lú deisceart ad wacha cuidste chun de muoinechan chun den dún fiú. Agus ceantar faoi lethe bhí an sin ó thaobh Lords na Gaeilge agus ó thaobh ceol agus cultúr de. Agus ba é Gaeltacht O'Meath an Gaeltacht bheo dhearanach a bhí in ó riaile.
Agus caith na hosig an Gaelga ag fáil bás sa ceantar?
Cé go raibh an Gaeilg leidir ar fa tamil fada go leor, ba léir ag tús an chéad seo thuí háart go raibh ag tep ar an Gaeilg sa ceantar. Mar hampla idir déan áireamh nídeag is a héan agus déan áireamh nídeag is a héan déag, bhí titrim ó hartfa 540 go dtí 340 de chaintrí dúchas Gaeilg. Sin titrim córa caracha fan géad. So ba léir fiúán ag tús an chéad seo thuí háart go raibh an Gaeilg ag imeacht as an cheantar. Agus fiú an tam sin, an Gaeilge bhí se an thuas ins na sléimhte, ní dócha go raibh mór an Gaeilg á leirt ag caintrí dúchaseacha an seo cinnal ins an bhaile mór mar a deartha.
Agus am léon eolas agat faoin na chaintúirí déarnacha?
Well, cúpla duine bhfuil eolas agin futhú duine acu fada bhar an Peadar ó Slúan. Dúirt sé go fiochtú suas Gaeilg ag úna Seandíní, agus go chuir sé snas Éascail Ardachaí thuas a bóthir gotí bag an seo. Sin gur scéalta agus an agus bhí fatsis go mbeadh na scéalta cailse. Dá bhrí sin bográch leis na bheadh sé ag obair an mhuí sna céirthain sna parcanna na scéalta insint os dó héin sa dóis na gceannach sé dearm dorthu. An caintear dúthais dearannach in sa cantar ná Áine Banny Anlún, Annie O'Hanlon. Fuairse se bás sa bhliain 1969 agus is nócha is a sé eici. Tá tépanna de Annie ag Lordsgaelig agus ins na tépanna clingin tú Gaelig chunta lú agus tá cúpla rud simul faoin Gaelig, faoin canúint a bhí eici, ibar a héin canúint chuige ola a bhí an, mar an óia cean de cantracha ola a bhí an órial. Agus chomhaith le sin, nuair a clingin tú í ag Lordsgaelig, tuigeann tú cén fá a bhfuil cinál canúint chun de lú agin sa bhéarla. Leanan canúint an bhéarla an canúint a bhí an sa Gaelig ag an am.
Céir faoi an chláiste Gaeilge a bhí an seo in Ó Mé?
Se bhí bunaíodh choiste bhríde Ó Mé an seo sa bhliain 1912 agus bhí Owen MacNeill mar ardóibh mar phríomhaide an choiste. Dus na blianta tosaí cibéirbí. Agus bhí an rachart an choiste agus bhí go leor daoine ag freastal léir. Ach le himimecht aimsere, ba léir nach ró go leor caintrí dúthais Gaeilge fága sa cantar go mbeadh eispéiris ceart géalteachta ag na daoine a bhí ag freastal léir. Agus sa bhliain 1925 bhí an Sayart Lorcan ó Murray i Gceannas, fear a bhí in a hairt pariste lean léir in dhé sin, ach chin an Sayart ó Murray an choiste a Gridgeam agus bhog sé choiste bhríde Ó Mé suas go ranna fariste i ddíor chonal, agus tá choiste bhríde ranna fariste i món ibre ó bhí 1926 go dtí an lá an Johan.
Agus céir faoi an Gaeilge inis sa cheantar?
Ní dócha go bhfuil caintrí dúthais Gaeilge bí fága in sa cheantar, ach ní héisin le rá nach bhfuil sim sa Gaeilge sa cheantar go fóil. Tá jaascail sa cheantar ag go le raig go bra agus Gaeilge a cheas go hintach mai antú, agus chomhaith le sin tá craobh de chunú na Gaeilge sa cheantar fosta, is bíon Circil Córa acusan ar an Ghevri. So mar Jerem cé go bhfuil na caintrí dúchaise imethe as an cantar, tá go leor daoine sa cantar go fóil a chur an séim an spéis agus an obair isteach sa teangaí.
Gur míl mágat as ucht an tolas sin fad Niall. So next up we hear a beautiful rendition of Sweet Dooley Gate from Gráinne Casey. Sweet Dooley Gate, Sweet Dooley Gate's the place I do adore, where all young men and maidens they dwelt in it before, where all young men and maidens they now lie far away. They are not in Sweet Dooley Gate, but they're in America. We are here at Millmount, which, according to Celtic mythology, is the burial place of Amergine. The Song of Amergine is one of the most famous pieces of world literature and has been translated by many major poets and set to music by many composers. Dundalk Gate, or Dooley Gate as it is locally known, was one of the 7 gates of Drogheda, and it is located here behind us at Millmount. He would not hesitate. Sweet Julie Gate is one of the many songs collected by the late Sean Corcoran, who was a native of Drogheda and whose contribution to Irish traditional music is internationally renowned. A famous Drogheda landmark is of course Lawrence Gate, which is one of the best preserved barbican gates in Europe. Edward Bunting is known as the first collector of Irish music and lived here in Drogheda in the 1780s. His brother Anthony was an organist in St. Peter's Church of Ireland. The history and architecture of Drogheda is what I love most about my town. The Tholsel, which was originally the meeting place of Drogheda's Borough Council, now facilitates the tourist office. The viaduct is an amazing piece of architecture and is a major link between the north and south. And rumour has it that it was actually built on cotton wool. One of the most popular tourist attractions in Drogheda is St. Peter's Church, which houses the head of St. Oliver Plunkett. The Highlanes Gallery in Lawrence Street, formerly the Franciscan Church and Friary, now hosts numerous arts and cultural events throughout the year. In the 19th century, Drogheda had a strong tradition of uilleann pipe makers, the most famous being the Taylor brothers from Scarlet Street. They emigrated to America in the 1870s, where they developed the concert set, which is now the standard set played by all the leading pipers. Before they left Drogheda, Billy Taylor taught Nicholas Markey, who in turn taught Seamus Ennis's father, Jimmy. Today, Seamus Sternan and Micheál McKeown continue producing and repairing pipes in the north of County Louth. Young men and maidens, they now lie far away. They are not in sweet Julie Gate, but they're in America. That was a lovely rendition there, Gráinne. Thanks a million for that. And I have to say, our hometown of Drogheda really is looking fantastic. So next up, we're off to Dundalk Institute of Technology, where we chat to Adele Cummins, and she tells us all about the Institute's connection with cultus and Irish music.
You've got dinner, agus tá fáilte romh go léir go dtí Institute Technoliaithe Dundalk. You're all very welcome today to Dundalk Institute of Technology, who are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. We've put together some footage of our Irish traditional music activities here at DKIT to join with you in your celebration of FleadhFest 2021. Tá súlaguin go mhuinfig sibh go léir taitneamh as an gceol. Gur míle maith.
A music degree was introduced at Dundalk Institute of Technology in 2003, and Irish traditional music has been a prominent aspect of our activities since. Many of the concerts at the Institute have focused on local musical and historical themes, and we have been fortunate to appear on radio and television. As well as being an integral part of the BA Honours in Music, students on the BA Honours in Audio and Music Production have explored recording and producing music influenced by or drawn from the traditions. And we offer both a certificate in Irish Traditional Music Studies and a taught Masters in Traditional Music Studies. We have had many postgraduate research projects in the area of Irish traditional music, and recent PhDs include Dr. Sean McElwain's study of traditional music in the Slieve Bar region and Dr. Conor Ward's study of the Kernan fiddle tradition. We have been delighted to welcome guests to perform with us in our concerts, including graduate and former All-Ireland singing champion Derry Farrell, harper Anne Heyman, and the great entertainer Mick Foster, another All-Ireland champion. South Armagh fiddle player and composer Josephine Keegan became our first honorary member in 2013. We celebrated dancer Mona Ruddy's contribution to traditional culture and were joined by her dancing school in 2014. members of local Comhaltas branches, the extended O'Kane family, and special guests joined us on stage for the conclusion of a concert celebrating the music of Brian O'Kane, featured here. Brian was a member of the champion Shimsa Cayley band from Dundalk and was on the first Comhaltas tour of North America. Mona also featured on a number of Comhaltas tours. As well as learning on campus, students at DKIT have travelled internationally, performing at events in Brazil, Scotland, Norway and the USA, and welcoming visiting groups who have performed with us at DKIT.
In the summer of 2016, a group of staff and students from Dundalk Institute of Technology travelled to Scotland. The group performed at the International Society for Music Education conference in Glasgow. From there, they made their way to Moray in the northeast of Scotland, where they performed at FleadhFest.
We continue to explore links with our area's musical heritage. We have partnered with the Oriel Traditional Orchestra, a community group of over 80 musicians of all ages founded in 2017. The OTO are one of our ensembles in residence, and we staged a joint concert in Anton Arts Centre in 2018, Orila Oscailcha, and we look forward to many more events with them into the future. We were delighted to participate in Fleadh Cheoil when it was held in Drogheda, and to contribute to FleadhFest this year.
Gurmil Magat as Ukshin Adele. So next up we had the opportunity to chat to three amazing musical instrument makers here in the county, 2 fiddle makers and 1 harp maker. Jim, what is it that makes a perfect fiddle?
Dear, I'm not so sure there's such a thing as a perfect fiddle. But probably there are many good fiddles, and there's some very good fiddles, but there's a much greater proportion of very poor ones. So I think what probably would make a good one is knowledge, good material, and plus a bit of experience, and a chance to see the great ones. I think you can't make a great fiddle if you haven't seen the great fiddles. So it's a combination of a lot of things, and because you're working with timber, it's a very variable thing. I mean, no 2 pieces of timber are exactly the same. So it can vary, even if you follow the same principles and the same measurements and same weights and graduations, they can still be different. So there's a bit of luck there, but it's only a bit.
I've been told that the bow can often be overlooked. Is that true?
It is true, and the bow is critically important. In fact, it's the male member of the team. A fiddle without a bow would be like a woman with no man. It's a very important thing, and there has been known to be bows sold for as much as $500,000. There was a torch sold recently for something like $300,000 or $400,000. So old bows, like old fiddles, have become very expensive. But bow making, like fiddle making, is quite an exact, not an exact science, but quite an intricate craft to make a nice bow.
And Jim, you're well known for fiddle playing and fiddle making, of course, but you also have a passion for engines. Can you tell us where that came from?
Yes, I do. It started back, I think, when I was about 16. I went to the technical college in Ballymena and done a course in motor engineering. And in fact, I was the only one ever to get 100 marks out of 100. I became fascinated with motor cars and motor engines. So then I went to sea as a marine engineer. So I worked with very big ones, 40 feet high, 12-foot strokes, 4'6" bore, massive engines. So all along, I just love engineering. But I got away from it when I started fiddle making. And the reason I started making was because I couldn't find a fiddle that worked properly. So that got me started. So only in the last 10, 11 years, I went to the Great Dorset Steam Fair and became fascinated with the steam and the machinery that was there. And I love old stuff. I love all the machinery built in the 1900s and before. But it's very different because wood is it's a substance that doesn't require exact measurement. You know, it's something you have a free rein with. When you're working in engineering, you have to work to very exact measurement. So you could see where there's organic. Metal is precise.
Well, I got into violin making, fiddle making, because my mother taught the fiddle in Dundalk for all her life, basically, well, for 45 years. And I used to see people coming in, and my mother would be sitting at the fireside trying to fit bridges and fit pegs and all. And we'd have to go to Dublin every so often to get fiddles fixed with Charlie Byrne. And I saw there was a possibility that I might be able to develop a business in the areas of servicing the needs of stringed instrument players. So I was in Torremines at the time, and I knew my next job would be abroad, and we didn't really want to be going abroad. And I went down to the Jazz Festival in Cork to hear Joe Pass playing the guitar, actually, and fell in with the trad people and found out there was a violin making course happening in Cork at the time. And so I resigned from Tara and went down to Cork the following year and studied violin making under Bill Patterson there for 3 years, and I've been doing it ever since.
I believe that your whole family are involved in traditional Irish music.
All my children play music, and we played at the Fleadh in Drogheda in 2018. It was a great experience for us all to be able to play together. Donald plays fiddle and guitar, Siún plays fiddle and sings, Felamy sings and plays flute, and Finian plays pipes, and my wife Sheila, she plays the fiddle also. And so Donald's children also play music and sing, and so it's a great family experience for us all to get together.
You've recently published a collection of dance music. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I published a collection of music from the area. It was called The Rose in the Gap, published it at the Fleadh in 2018. And it was a body of music that was played in the area, and I brought it back to life. And it's great to have these tunes in this collection made available to the students and lovers of traditional music from here and from everywhere else.
I first started making harps about 30 years ago, to tell the truth. The first harp I made sort of set me off on an attempt to make better harps. You know, I took a real interest in the harp making because it is our national instrument. I always had a powerful interest in traditional music. Some of my friends were great musicians, and I met Deirdre Nibuchla from Dundalk, and through the time working with Deirdre, we just improved the harp and improved it and tried to get better sound and try to make the harp stronger and try to compete with all these foreign harp makers like Salvi and Camank. And it just took a bit of time because the first few harps weren't that good, but they've just got better and better all the time. So it's a love of traditional music as well as a love of woodwork as well, and a love of trying to make a really, really good harp which is affordable to most people. Tá sugad go bhfuil Gaeilge agus so beidir lormid a couple of focal in Gaeilge. Tá sugad an cantar seo bhí an Gaeilge Lord le gactain you gutí million as a nícéad as a shock badger agus an sin stadna duine a cansin Gaeilge. But ag an am seo bhí an cantar seo an larger leis an cold traditionta. And in this area at the minute we have some of the best musicians, and we would like to try and push the harp to the forefront more so, you know, than it ever was before, because 6 or 7 years ago a lot of the Irish harp makers had died out and there was a shortage of Irish harp makers. So we're trying to bolster the Irish harp made by Irish people in Ireland.
Some very passionate musical instrument makers there that we have here in the county. So finally, Gráinne Beryl is going to chat to us all about the Louth County Board. Gráinne, you're Secretary of Louth County Board of Comhaltas. Tell us a little bit about when it was founded and how you became involved.
Louth County Board was established in the early 90s. I am the current secretary, have been for the last couple of years. I suppose I was a late starter coming into Comhaltas. I came in as an adult. I was drawn because of the Fleadh Cheoil and coming to Drogheda, and I've always loved traditional music, and I was somebody who wanted to learn to play an instrument. So joining Comhaltas gave me a route to learn to play an instrument as an adult, and also singing classes and doing a few sessions and things like that. And I suppose that's one of the great benefits of bringing Fleadh to places like Louth, and whether that's Drogheda or hopefully we're looking forward to bringing the Leinster Fleadh back to Louth in a couple of years as well, because it gives us an opportunity to showcase our county, as we're doing with the FleadhFest programmes at the moment, and it also gives an opportunity to bring new people into the traditional music fold as well.
And how has the pandemic affected Comhaltas here in County Louth?
Oh, Ciara, sure, you know yourself, it's very difficult for musicians who love to come together and play, but it's been fantastic. Branches have been doing online classes, and as I said, I'm an adult learner myself, and it was actually a great opportunity for me to stay connected with people and to learn the tunes and that, and we had great crack within our online class too, and we had online sessions. Also the County Board, we moved to the online setting as well, a challenge initially, but I think we all had great crack coming together, and if anything we probably met more often over the last year or two with thanks to going online. So no more than anybody else, the pandemic has been a challenge, but we have all tried here in Louth, all branches on a county level, to keep going with the music and keep going and coming together, and it is a great community. It's a great way to come together and play a few tunes as well.
And Grania, what is the role of the County Board in Comhaltas?
Yeah, so as I was saying, our annual Fleadh is really important, and not being able to have the Fleadh, not being able to come together was a big loss. So it was a real opportunity when Comhaltas set up the FleadhFest programmes, even in the planning of them. So the County Board, we led on the process, and we established a FleadhFest committee with representatives of all of our branches, volunteers who all gave their time freely, I have to say. And then obviously being able to go around the county and to connect with our members, but also to showcase the rich heritage we have here in Louth. The wee county is full of tradition, so it was a really good opportunity for us to do that, and it's been a wonderful project to be part of, and certainly that's the role of the County Board, was to actually make sure the programmes were made, and the FleadhFest committee are the people who did all of the groundwork on that, so thanks to them all for doing that.
Thanks very much for that, Grania. Well, that's it from us here at FleadhFest Cunday Lou. Súil agam gur bhainteamh an sult as an chlór. But before we go, we have a short message from Cathaoirleach Board Cunday Lou, Michael Hayes.
On behalf of the Louth County Board, I would like to thank everybody who participated in the making of the FleadhFest programmes. Everybody who sent in material, music, video, the Louth County Board, most importantly, the FleadhFest Committee. Thank you all very much.